part 3, and first we'll recap. So, first of all, just for anyone who wasn't here for it to remember it, this was a Maamar that was originally said on Shabbos Tetzaveh on the 10th of Adar 1 in Tafshin Mem Aleph. That's 1981, but it was given out. It was published in a pamphlet on Purim Katan, right, which means the same day as Purim, but in Adar 1, of Tafshin Nun Beis, 1992. And it was this sekuntus was actually one of the ones that was printed that the Rebbe gave out, and it was the last one that the Rebbe gave out. So in a sense, it's looked at as his instructions to us of what do we do when, his instruction to us. Now, what's interesting is that what's the whole thing about? The whole thing is about what does it mean to be connected to a Rebbe? What's the role of the Rebbe and what's the role of the people? So it's not just that it happened to be the last one, but in addition, it's very on target when it comes to telling us what we're supposed to do. And after all, you had in Chabad Hasidim, you had for already since the times of the Alter Rebbe that everybody was used to. You have a Rebbe that you can ask questions, and he's going to tell you, sort of minute by minute what you need to do. The truth is there were other sikhs things that the Rebbe gave before, gave around at that same time, which were very obvious. When you look back at them now, it was very obvious that he was giving us instruction on basically how to complete the process of revealing Mashiach in the world. So anyways, it starts off, Veata Tetzaveh b'nei Yisrael, and you command the children of Israel, right? This is from the Pasuk in the Torah. V'yikchu elecha shemen zay yizach, and they will bring to you pure olive oil, kasis lamo'er, crushed as a source of light. Tamid, to raise an everlasting light. So the Rebbe starts by asking several questions about this. First of all, why does it say Veata Tetzaveh, and you command the Jewish people? This is something that's unique to this pasuk, and generally it says first of all it starts with Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe leimer, right? And then Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Tzaveh b'nei Yisrael, command the Jewish people. Which the obvious implication of that is I am telling you Moshe the commandment, and you bring the people my commandment, Hashem's commandment. The Veata Tetzaveh, and you command, has a different implication. It sounds like Moshe is the one doing the commanding. So, which is a very strange thing. Is Moshe not, after all, a mere messenger of Hashem to bring us Hashem's word and Hashem's commandment? The second question is, it says, and they will bring to you, to Moshe Rabbeinu, the oil. Why are they bringing oil to Moshe? Right? It seems a little odd that they would be bringing oil to Moshe. Yeah, it should be. Maybe I have to be in the other. There we go. So, why are they bringing the oil to Moshe? Is not Aaron the one who deals with the menorah? So why are they bringing the oil to Aaron's the one who deals with everything in the menorah? What does it mean, bring to Moshe the other oil? Another question. Why does it say Kosis Lamar, crushed as a source of light? Why doesn't it say bring him olive oil to make light? No, crushed to the source of light. And one last question he has is, why does it say in the next pasuk, it says Me'erev ad Boker, from the evening till the morning, and here it says Ner Tamid, an everlasting. Which is it? So he starts off by explaining the first, by explaining about the first question, that the previous Rebbe explained in a Maamar Ve'kibel Yehudim, also from Purim Katan time. And it was actually a Maamar that was about Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice, and it was a Maamar that the previous Rebbe gave with great self-sacrifice himself. He was during a time that was very, very the KGB was or NKVD, whoever was at the time, was really breathing down, and they're watching every move. There was actually many who advised him they shouldn't be giving Maamarim at all. He shouldn't be making even gatherings, and certainly not Maamarim. And if he does give Maamarim, he should be very careful what he talks about. Keep it. And yet he called it public gathering, and he spoke about having self-sacrifice to maintain Yiddishkeit. So it says in this Maamar that what does tzivoy mean? What is commandment? Right? And you command the Jewish people. So tzivoy comes from tzavsa v'chibur, right? What's tzavsa v'chibur? A connection, a tying, being tied to each other. Comes from you. So what does it mean Veata Tetzaveh? And you connect the Jewish people. So that's why it says and you, because you, Moshe, you connect the Jewish people. That Moshe is the one who ties the Jewish people to the light of the Infinite One. Now, through this that he influences. Oh, we have our director here again. Yeah. Oh, through this that Moshe is tying the Jewish people. Through this, he himself is also elevated. Right, like we know that even though Moshe is the head and the Jewish people are like the feet, right? Like Moshe himself says, Sheish mes elef ragli azeh shamich bekirbei. 600,000 feet are this nation that I'm among them. That the people were like the feet, and Moshe is the head. That Moshe is the one who figures out what to do, and we're the ones who need to carry it out. So, just like by a head, even though a head is so much greater than feet, the head is not going anywhere without feet. Where's the head going? Unless a head can roll very much, Chaim, okay, yeah? There's no, he's not going anywhere. So a head needs feet to go. And so for a person to go, for a head to go from here to there, there needs to be feet that takes him from here to there. She likes this Maamar, no? Oh, yeah. And so therefore, when Moshe connects the Jewish people, but through that, the Jewish people elevate Moshe also. And this is why it says, and they will bring to you oil. What does it mean they'll bring to you oil? They'll bring to you oil, meaning they will elevate you. So that's why it says they'll bring to you, to Moshe, oil. It's okay. When we're live, it's the same chaos. Don't worry. Amen. Chaim Lecha.
I'm trying to do this delicately. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Nah, we don't believe in delicate.
Don't want to make a mess.
Yeah. So to explain this, the Maamar, meaning he's the Rebbe continues explaining the Maamar of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So in that Maamar, the Lubavitcher Rebbe explains that Moshe is called Raya Mehemna, which usually is translated as, but like the trustworthy shepherd.
Faithful shepherd.
Faithful shepherd, yeah. So there's two meanings. One of them is that he's Raya Nemet, so he's trust. You can trust him. You can have faith in him to be a good shepherd. The second meaning is that what does he shepherd with? Faith. Meaning that how does he give them sustenance? The sustenance that he gives them is faith. So hang on a second. Like Nathan asked last time, what does it mean he sustains them with faith? We know the Jewish people on their own, we're born with faith. So what does it mean Moshe sustains us with faith? So the Jewish people are believers, the children of believers. They have within them this thing that they believe. However, it doesn't always come out in action. It doesn't always come out in an actionable level. As you can see, you'll have a Jew and he thinks he's an atheist, right? There's such a thing. You probably heard of this. At the same time, this Jew and atheist, he also believes in God. Why? Because how we know? Because we know every single Jew believes in the Eibishter. Now, why does he think he's an atheist? Maybe like Dr. Green and I have had this conversation a lot about, the God that you don't believe in, I also don't believe in. In other words, the God that people think this is God. If that's God, then I'm an atheist. I don't believe in this God. But every Jew believes, but it can stay in what's called makif, in a surrounding way. What does it mean surrounding? It means it doesn't become internalized. It doesn't really take a hold in the vessel. So what does Moshe do? Moshe makes that it should come out in a revealed way, and not just revealed, but in a way of action. In other words, not just in a way, because you can. Let's introduce both sides of that coin, right? Because we have the atheist that says he doesn't believe in God, but he's a Jew. We know he does believe in God. But we also have on the flip side, we have the guy who says he believes in God, and the God he believes in that he's saying he believes in is not God. So it goes both ways. Right? So, but what Moshe does is he takes that faith that we have inside of us, that we believe in the one true Hashem, and he brings he influences us in such a way that should come out in a revealed and actionable and internalized way. So this is what Moshe is called the shepherd of faith. Is not just Moshe himself. But this is also applies to the extension of Moshe in every generation, which is the heads of the Jewish people in every generation, which they strengthen the faith of the Jewish people in their generation, right? As we know that when Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, the Eibishter gave Yeshua the task of continuing that, and he said that they will listen to you just like you listened to my servant Moshe. Right, it's in the second parak of Yeshua. So we see Yeshua wasn't like this new thing. Okay, now Moshe's gone. Now there's this brand new concept. But rather, Yeshua was an extension of Moshe Rabbeinu to his generation, and so too the leaders of the Jewish people in every generation are an extension of that. So, like the sages say that Mordechai in his generation was like Moshe in his generation. That even during the time of the decree of Haman, right, which you weren't allowed to during this time. It wasn't just about on this day we'll kill them. It It was the whole thing against the way the Jewish people act, right? What was the whole thing he tells Achashverosh? There's this one nation that's separate. They keep separate from all the other nations, and they don't do, and then they have their own traditions, etc., etc. So carrying out Torah and mitzvahs in the time of Mordechai was connected with mamish with kipshute, like literally Mesiras Nefesh. You know, we call it self-sacrifice, but it actually means giving one's life. A self-sacrifice, a degree of giving one's life. During the time of Mordechai, it was literally that under such threat. And what did he do? What did Mordechai do? He gathered big groups of people, and actually especially children. It says he gathered 23,000 children, made a giant Tzivos Hashem rally to strengthen the faith of the Jewish people, to stand strong in Torah and mitzvahs. So that's the next thing that's explained in this Maamar Veata Tetzaveh, says the Rebbe. And the next thing that's explained is he goes to explain the idea of kasis lama'ir, of this thing of crushed as a source of illumination. Lama'ir v'lo lohayir, meaning as a source of illumination and not just to light up. That in the times of Golus, that everyone is in a broken and downtrodden way, meaning that's crushed. That's what it means, crushed or in Golus. This is how you get, specifically through this crushing of Golus, is how you get to the source of light, to the Atzmos, to the very essence of Hashem. That the light came out of. Not just the Oirei, not just the light of the Infinite One, but it's through this crushing that we have Mesiras Nefesh. And through the Mesiras Nefesh, through the self-sacrifice, that's how we reach the essence of God Himself. So we need to understand, first of all, why are these two ideas connected? The one that Moshe and the extension of him in every generation is the Raya Mehemna, is the shepherd of faith. What's the connection between that and crushed as a source of illumination? Why are they connected? Because the previous Rebbe brings them one after the other. And specifically, he brings first the idea of Moshe as the shepherd of faith, and then the idea following that, it brings this idea of crushed as a source of illumination. So the explanation of the original pasuk that we're talking about, Veata Tetzaveh, a new command, comes. So he's going to bring another two things that are brought together, one after the other, and which one comes before. The thing that he explained, which in this Maamar is the first thing that was explained, what that was brought down, right? Veata Tetzaveh, that Moshe makes a connection and he connects the Jewish people. But in the Maamar Veata Tetzaveh, that comes after the explanation in the beginning. What's the explanation in the beginning? That Maamar doesn't have the same title, Veata Tetzaveh. That Maamar starts with the Kibbulah Yehudim, and the Jewish people accepted upon themselves. That during the times of Purim, they accepted upon themselves that which they began to do. So it explains in that Maamar that they accepted what they began in the times of Matan Torah. 1 second, I think Nathan's opening the door for somebody. Should find out if there's a way to get like a mobile connection to the camera over there, that I can see the camera and open the door for like, that would be a great way to do it. Oh, Mandy Cohen. So I should probably tell him. So he explains that Maamar starts off, and they accepted that which they began at the giving of the Torah at Sinai was only a beginning. And the times of Purim by Achashverosh, by the decree of Haman, that was when they really accepted it. The Kibbutz Yehudim, and the Jews accepted it. That they said Nasav and Ishma, we will do, and then we will hear at the giving of the Torah. That was only the beginning. And the times of Achashverosh, they actually actualized it. So in the Maamar of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he asked it. This seems to be like a surprising statement. In Matan Torah, the Jews were at the ultimate of height, of spiritual heights. They were also at the ultimate revelation. I believe the term we used for that was the greatest revelation ever. Meaning, even though before that was the coming out of Egypt, where the plagues in Egypt, all the great miracles in Egypt. As we know from the Haggadah that the miracles by the sea were even greater than those in that it was mamish the hand of God. However, even the hand of God, and even though it was he himself and not a messenger, etc., that took them out, but the actual revelation of he himself, Anoichi, Hashem Elokecha, I am Havaya, your God, was by Matan Torah. This was the greatest revelation of God to ever happen on this earth. In the times of Achashverosh, they were at the ultimate of low. Not only were they, just like we know that every Golus is an extension of the Golus in Egypt, so not only were they low just like in every other Golus, but they were, we're talking about they're standing by the gates of Auschwitz, being ready to be let in, to be all murdered. This is the situation they're in. I can, it's clear that the degree to which God was there, but I can tell you that those standing by Auschwitz, it might have been very hard to be seeing a revelation of him at that moment. All the questions arise of how do you even do this to your Jewish people? So this is the times of Haman. Was you at the? It's a time of the ultimate low. It's really a bad example to bring. I'll tell you why. Because the second you bring that example, it's already answered the question. If I tell you that there's people standing in Auschwitz were higher than the people standing at the giving of the Torah, it doesn't take a lot of imagination, Of course they were higher, but that's really the answer to this. Is when you're standing by the revelation of the giving of the Torah, it's very easy to believe in God. In fact, like, what can you imagine what kind of person could I don't think there could be any person who could stand there in front of that revelation and not choose God at that moment. The guy standing by the gate of Auschwitz, and at that point he's saying, I don't give up my Torah and my mitzvahs. You are Hashem, my God. You are my only God. I will never give you up. I will never give my Judaism up. Now that's something. And that's the whole thing by Haman, is that their doing of Torah and mitzvahs was in a way of Mesiras Nefesh. That on top of this, that they had the self-sacrifice, not to deny God, but they also had specifically on the Torah and mitzvahs. to the, listen, I don't deny God, I believe in God, but right now we're in a place of danger, so we have to not focus on the Torah mitzvahs right now. We have to, focus on survival. Nope, what was their focus on? They had specifically self-sacrifice on doing Torah mitzvahs to the point where they got together big groups in public to learn Torah with self-sacrifice. Now, what awakened in them this self-sacrifice? It was Mordechai the Jew, Mordechai HaYehudi, the Moshe of his generation. And this is the meaning of that the Jews, they received what they began to do, that during the times of the Torah was just the beginning, and it was by Purim, by the times of Haman, was the real acceptance, because through the fact that they were doing it with self-sacrifice, and not just self-sacrifice in theory, this was self-sacrifice in action. So the Torah and mitzvahs, their Torah and mitzvahs rose up to, in this sense, a higher level than even those that were at Sinai. And therefore, that's specifically when they had the proper receiving of the Torah. So we can say that the explanation of Kasis Lamar, of crushed as a source of illumination, meaning he's now tying together all these parts, that through being crushed, right, being crushed of Galus, we reach the source of illumination, we reach Atzmos, the essence of God. That's why it takes a Galus like this to bring Mashiach, because in order to bring Mashiach, we have to reveal the essence of God, not just his light, we have to reveal his essence. That this is an explanation on why in the times of Haman specifically, they reached a higher level than Matan Torah, than the giving of the Torah. Why? Because Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice they had, and in this case they had the opportunity for self-sacrifice, not just in theory, not just in concept, not just in willingness, but to actually go out in a way of self-sacrifice. What causes this? What causes the self-sacrifice? It comes from the essence of the neshama, from the essence of the soul that's higher than revelation. Meaning, even though by the giving of the Torah was the highest revelation, but the self-sacrifice draws down something that's higher even than revelation. It's higher than revelation. It goes to the actual source of light. And through this, that during the times of Mordechai, unlike the times of the giving of the Torah, they were in a situation of crushed. So that crushed revealed the essence of the soul, and therefore they had Mesiras Nefesh. They had self-sacrifice. However, so that seems clear that these things are connected. The fact that they're crushed, and the fact that through being crushed they reach the essence, and the fact that the ultimate revelation is through, not even revelation, even higher than revelation, the ultimate connection is through self-sacrifice. The fact that comes after he first explains the idea of the Raya Mehemna, the shepherd of faith, points to the fact that the being crushed leads to the source of illumination has something to do with the fact that Moshe is the one that is the shepherd of faith to the Jewish people. And the fact that, what does that mean? Meaning that he takes their faith that they're born with and brings it out, that it should be in a revealed and actualized way by them, in a pnimius way. So this can be explained through this, that the Jewish people believe in godliness in a simple faith. And they do not need any proof about this. In fact, even a Jew, if he's standing in front of you, trying to prove to you that God doesn't exist, at the very time he's trying to prove that to you, he actually believes in a way that's higher than proof that God does exist, and that God is the only true God. So why does a Jew not need any proof on the existence of God? It's because of two reasons. The first reason is mazalayu chazi. His mazel sees, meaning there's a part of the neshama that's higher than being enclosed in a body. Right? Because the part of our neshama that's enclosed in our body now becomes enclosed in our brain and becomes subject to logic. However, our neshama isn't, there's only a little part of our neshama that's actually in our body. And the part of the neshama that's higher than our body is not bound by our human brain. It's not bound by logic, which is very funny. This is what you see unfolding in the United States today. You have the liberal movement has their logic. What does the conservative movement do? They try to explain, but this is not logical. Because logically, man and woman and X chromosomes, Y chromosomes, etc., etc. Ultimately, they're really not. They're not as far ahead as they think. Because all you're saying is that, according to your logic, first of all, logic itself is not objective. Logic itself is subjective. And the proof is,
very few people are aware of that.
Right, everybody thinks that. No, logic is no, and it's your logic. And your logic, you'll go to somebody from a different culture and they'll laugh at you and say, look how illogical this American is. Everything he's saying makes no sense. Another example would be, if I would come now and explain with very, very good logic that the earth is flat, even though they have figured out with their logic that it's round, just like we already knew it was round, but like if you were to tell somebody that it's round when they were saying it's flat. These were all things that came from logic. Human logic. This is where,
in fact, the idea that the earth went around, that the sun goes around the earth, mathematically, you can have equations, which they did back then, to show, in fact, with what's called epicycles, and it worked. It was just
right, or how they showed that what was it? I forget what it was. There was something that showed that they took something completely unconnected that happens to have a similar trajectory. And they showed how piracy must have been the cause for some completely disconnected thing. I forget what it was.
But
logically it makes sense. Look,
exactly
right. And this is the funny thing is that when you have the conservative logic, with everything is logic, and see, we can logically prove. Your logic is no better than their logic, and it's actually a sad thing that you have very often. You have, listen, I understand that you have to ultimately at some point you have to choose based on policy making or whatever, but you have Jews and even Jews who are believing Jews who fall into this trap of thinking that the conservative movement is any better than the liberal movement, and I'll tell you what, in some ways they're not at all. Because what you see there is the conservative movement's purpose is fighting the liberal movement. The liberal movement's purpose is fighting the conservative movement. Neither of them actually make any sense.
Exactly.
And the proof of it, what you see is, if you look in the world, what are they doing? Right? For example, masks. What does a mask have to do with conservative or liberal? A mask. Okay, let me look at my situation. Here's the data as far as I can tell, and here's my age, and here's my and here's what they're saying about it. Either it helps, it doesn't help, but what's it called? There's no reason for masks to be worn religiously And there's no reason to on the flip side, to like anyone wearing a mask. Oh, you're wearing a mask. Oh, like in either way, like it's either you're falling to their insane logic or their insane logic. You know, it's and this is the thing, is the only true logic is his logic. Right? That's why we have a Torah, because the Torah is his logic. His logic is infallible completely. It is absolutely true, and it's always spot on. Whether it makes sense to you, whether it doesn't make sense to you. But it's a shame, because sometimes you have people in even in Orthodox Judaism who like a lot, especially in Orthodox Judaism, who align themselves to like the conservative movement. Like you're following a false messiah, not Trump and by the way, not just Trump, not Trump and not Pence and not Biden, not any of them. These aren't the people who run the world. Since when does a Jew put his faith in these people? Yeah. I still remember. I remember by a Farbrengen once. And it was right before the second Trump election. And somebody's there. He says, and Trump has to win. What do you mean Trump has to win? So first of all, he doesn't have to win. We don't know that yet. If it turns out he didn't win, or he did win and they stole it from him, one or the other. But the bottom line is, what do you mean Trump has to win? So what you're telling me then is God is not great enough to be able to run his world the way he sees fit if Biden becomes president. So you're telling me Biden is more powerful than God. That's what you're telling me. God runs this world. What are we falling into? So this is the thing, is people believing in God. When they don't believe in God, it's because of their own human logic. Even when they believe in God, I hate to tell you, they're usually believing in a false God, because it's the God that their human logic can wrap its head around. It's not a God. You know, and this is, by the way, this is the God of the conservative movement.
We're not recording this, don't worry. We're not recording what you're saying.
Oh no, it's everywhere.
Uh-oh.
This is everywhere. This is everywhere. What do you
not the chorus. You and Spinoza.
In other words, there's all of these movements they're all false movements and I'll give you an example. The idea that economics is the single most important driving thing and whatever, and supporting oil companies and all these things, and there's a lot of corruption and things on the conservative side of the thing, and on the liberal side of the thing. It all depends what your false God is. But for example, why do you have to support these insane ideas? And here's the funny thing, which even many of the other religions, even the most like orthodox part of their religions, are afraid to even mouth the words and talk about the whole thing with men becoming women and women becoming men, and to talk about that this is utter insanity. Even in some of the religions, wait a second, you're people of God. You become afraid of what the people are going to think. You're trying to make your religion fit people. It's God. If it will be me and 10 people who speak the truth, it's better than all the world speaking half the truth. By the time this gets on all the channels, it'll be me and 10 people. But okay, as long as Dr. Green and Reb Nathan are among those, it can be even 3 people. We're happy. So, and of course our executive producer Ira, but we need him. If not, who's going to hack us a chinik to make sure we make this year? We'd end up So this is the thing with human logic. And why human logic, even those who think they believe in God, but they're believing in God in their human logic way.
It's a problem.
Yeah. So why does a Jew believe in God? And why does he have a simple faith? It's because his faith comes from above the brain. It comes from above the human brain and the human logic. And there's in 2 ways. One is mazalayu chazi, that is mazal sees, meaning there's a part of the neshama that gets a revelation of godliness, and it knows the truth of God's existence, and it knows the truth that he is the only true being and no other beings are and all other beings are only through his being and created by him, that he was, he is, he will be. This is something that the soul on a higher level sees in a factual way, as a reality, higher than logic, right? And to this all the university people will laugh. Oh, what do you mean higher than logic? Yeah, there's a higher than logic, and a faith that comes from higher than logic. Like for example, if you see person A right here, person A shoots person B, and person B's dead body is on the floor with blood all over. And then I'm gonna try to explain you logically why. No. I know it. I know you just saw it right here. I'm gonna explain you that logically, really, what you saw, you can't explain me. There's what I know. It's the same thing. There's God is known by the soul. This part of the soul that's above being in the human body, that's above investment and enclosement in the human body. So that's one. And this draws down into into us as humans, even once we do come and put on our brain and our body. So that's the first reason that a Jew believes with a simple faith. The second reason is because the source of faith is from the essence of the soul, which is even higher than this place where there's a revelation, right? Where it's revealed to the soul completely that God is the truth. In fact, the essence of the soul is higher than any revelation at all. It's higher than a revelation. That the essence of the soul is tied to the essence of godliness. So this tie, it's an essential tie. The essence of the soul and the essence of godliness, it's a bond that's an essential bond.
Is that what they call the sovev? Like there's a maki?
No, this would be essentially higher than Sovev even. This is etzem. Even Sovev is a Sovev light. It's a light that's in other words, what you call makif would be the first one we said. Yeah. Makif would be that mazalayu chazi, that your mazal sees.
Yeah.
Why? Because your body, the mamala, the filling lights, is in your body. It can come into these vessels and it can enliven them and move them and make this brain think and this mouth talk. Okay. The mazalayu chazi is the soul as it is above it being enclosed in the body. Right. That's makif basically. Oh. So that's the first reason. The first reason we believe is from makif. But by makif there's a revelation of the truth of godliness. But then there's higher than that. There's the essence of godliness that's higher than even a makif sort of revelation. It's higher than any sort of relation. It's God in his essence. And us in our essence, we are completely tied with God in his essence. And because it's an essential tie, we believe. Because we're part and parcel. We're not a separate entity. If I would ask you to explain who the true you is, it would be very hard. At the same time, there's you. And you know you, even if you can't, not only you can't explain it to me, you can't even explain it to yourself.
Absolutely.
But yet there's a you, and there's a you that is more, that is just, and it's not your arm, and it's not even your brain, and it's just you.
That's you, yeah.
So that's the way that we're connected. And therefore, it's not only higher than logic, it's even higher than any sort of revelation. It just is.
Right, exactly.
So one of the differences between these two ways of how we get faith. Oh, and look at that. He actually says it exactly that way. Is that the faith that comes from the mazalayu chazi, from the seeing of the soul above the body? And he says it just like, almost makes you wonder how many times Dr. Green has learned this Maamar already. Because it says it exactly in those words, right? He b'vchinas makif. That the mazalayu chazi, this revelation that the neshama above the body has, is in a makif way. In fact, how do we know that it's in a makif way? Because it's the soul that's above the body. It is the part of the soul that does not enclose itself in the body, which is the very definition of makif. It surrounds. It has an influence on the body. It has an influence on the part of the soul in the body. It's not intrinsically enclosed in the body. It's not, in the very fabric of the physical person. Along the fact that it's a makif, that it's surrounding, also comes the fact that it's not in an actualized way. It's there, but it's kind of like almost in the abstract. So this is the belief of the Jew before Moshe Rabbeinu has brought it in an internalized way to him. So he's at the level of mazalayu chazi. He's at the level that why does he, even though he says he doesn't believe what we said every Jew believes. So why is there no action on that? Because it's in a way of makif. Because he hasn't yet been inspired by Moshe Rabbeinu to internalize it. But now, in order for that faith to be an eternal faith, how is that? That's through the revelation of this higher type of faith. It's a revelation of the fact that your essence is connected to Hashem's essence. So essentially, what does Moshe do? What Moshe does is he takes you from the place where there's just a part of you that's abstract, that's a surrounding light, that gives you an abstract faith in Hashem, and he helps you connect with the faith that comes from an essence to essence bond. And therefore, when that faith will come down, that faith comes down also in a way of etzem, of essence, and total internalization and total actualization and total connection. Now, what's interesting is that how do we know that the etzem, right, the yechida, well, the etzem is not not a makif and abstract thing, because it's not like the part of the soul that sees this has this revelation, right? It doesn't go into the body, but the essence of the soul, it's the essence of that part of the soul that's exactly the same, like it's the essence of this part of the soul that's in the body. Essence is essence. And see, that's the thing. Like, let's go back to talking about like the essential you, right? Hey, so the essential you, Mandi, Machal Chaim, something.
Take a beer.
It's still nice and cold. These are actually nice ones. Yeah. So the essence of you, right, Dr. Green? You know how there's different levels of you, and different. There's there's different throughout history. There've been different psychotics who've explained it differently, right? What do they call it? The ego, the ud, all these things. Id, the chveis. There's all these different and there's other people who bring it down in different. Okay, but what's interesting is no matter how you split it, the essential you is the essence of all of those separations, all those different versions, every one of them. And that's why, unlike the makif type of the surrounding type of faith, that comes from a revelation of a part that's in a sense disconnected from you, the faith that you have from your essential connection with God is because of the essential nature of your connection with Him, of the essence of you with the essence of Him. And therefore, it connects in every part of you and every part of Him in its essence. And so in this way, we can connect all the things so far in the Maamar, is that the crushed, as the source of illumination, comes it comes after he explained the concept. Comes after the concept of what he explained first of that the Moshe Rabbeinu and his extension is the shepherd of faith, because that Moshe sustains the people with faith, that it should be in an internal way, is through this that he reveals the essence of their soul, and he reveals its essence connection with the essence of God. Like he explains in the Maamar, so this is the Rebbe talking about the Maamar of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, that in order to reach to the source of light is through crushed. That's in the times of Golos. That this, meaning the main revelation, comes why? From self-sacrifice. Like we said before, and like we'll continue in a second. We'll take a short pause for station identification, as well as to open up the what do you call it, the treasure houses.
It's good, bro. It's good. He's killing it. Yeah, he's killing it.
You guys gonna read?
Yeah.
Good guys.
Yeah, he's beast at it.
I want to come every week. Just he tells me too
Too early.
early. Yeah. It's like it needs to be like a spur of the moment thing.
So you can set a reminder on your phone for 5 minutes before.
Never mind.
Nah, he wants real Chaim to have that also.
I'll take that.
Yellow or white?
Yellow. Por favor. Yeah. Right, Dr. Green?
Right, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
He's doing a great job.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah, he's really killing it.
Do you guys learn like the same minor over one period of time?
Sometimes. I think we've been moving towards that. We used to
Now-
start
now
a new
we're
one
doing
like
a
every
good
week.
job.
But
Let me get also like water and something, please.
but this is like Veata Tetzaveh is the last Maamar that the Rebbe gave, and we're approaching Gimel Tammuz, which is the day that the Rebbe passed. So people generally start learning that Maamar leading up to it.
Right,
It's
not
like-
just the last one, but also that it's the
It's
whole
like his
idea of what the
message.
Rebbe and what is it? Essentially, what does it mean to be connected to a Rebbe? And what's the whole idea?
Isn't that the shepherd?
Yeah, Simon.
Exactly.
That's this one?
Yeah.
No, it's the only
Yeah.
minor I ever learned.
Aha! Man, you still got it, baby.
No, let me rephrase that. It's the only minor that I ever like taught in the converse. Usually, in the converse, this guy's teaching me. This was the only minor where I was doing the teaching.
Yeah, this is the essential. Oh, we have cups here.
I thought you guys were like learning outside in like a sukkah. You smoke the cigar while you're doing it.
Well, we usually first like learn some of the Maamar. We learn like
I thought you
the
had met that.
we learn like inside
Then we do.
the Maamar, and then when we go outside, it's more. we go more to like you remember like the Hirsch Porch days, and then we
I know.
go into like
No, I
the.
missed the first day.
Oh man. Oh man, that was the revelation of
Why don't
Atzis.
we- why don't we go back there?
Well, we do the same thing out here just now.
Yeah, but
You want some of this? You like the
I'll take
smoky
a little
smoke?
bit of it. Yeah, I do actually. I bought it for Hirsch. That's all I got.
yeah.
Because for like on
You seen her
Shabbos.
show up here?
You mean on he's here every Shabbos?
Well,
The whole
here.
what?
Once a night here.
Want some of this?
I think it starts after his night time.
So why don't you go back to his place?
Gotta be.
I don't know. It's just what's it called? I mean,
Rabbi.
we got space here.
That's Rabbi.
Oh yeah, there's like right near the main shore.
Is it
You know,
the same place?
it's not that thing.
Yeah,
that,
it's
like,
empty. It's empty though.
Really?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, and let me see.
She doesn't do too much of the time.
Well, yeah, it must be right. Let me see.
Not the whole emo episodes, not the whole week ones.
It's all right. I don't know the difference. Ooh, that looks nice, Sam. Well, that looks like a nice keeper.
Yeah, serious business.
Did Hillel Paratcher do an explanation of the whole shar?
Ooh, man, that is.
Yeah, he doesn't have every chapter because, in other words, some of the ones he's already explained them in combination with other ones, but he does explain the whole
Oh,
thing.
but he's okay. I was just wondering.
So the idea is that the faith of the Jewish people is in a way that it's not just a faith, but it's a faith to the point where he'll give his life for it. This comes from the faith that comes from the essence of the soul, right? That a Jew is willing to give his life for faith, because of his belief in Hashem. That doesn't come from this mazalayu chazi because he has a revelation. Because you know what happens. The second stuff is, the second the poopy hits the air conditioner, it's all of a sudden it's very hard to have revelation. But when it's an essential connection, then it's everything. You don't have nothing without it. So this point, so when you're giving your life on it, this is how you know this is a faith that comes from the essence of the soul. That the revelation that he has because of mazalayu chazi, because it's a part of him above his body that has a revelation, even though it's a very powerful thing, there's no question. As we know that that when you have when you know something, right? You know, and nobody can even convince you different. Why? Because you saw it, like we said. That this is it's a high revelation. However, his faith is still because of a reason, because I have a revelation. On the other hand, when it's like this, it's not tied to the essence of his being. On the other hand, so therefore, it's not necessarily will he give his life for this. On the other hand, the fact that the Jew has a self-sacrifice to the point that he'll give his life for it, and he has a faith that's the point where he'll give his life for it. This is because his faith in godliness is his essence. It is the Jew's essence. It's not that there's me and there's my faith in God. It's that my essence is totally tied to the essence of God, and my faith in God is my essence. And therefore, it's impossible for him to be in denial or to go against it. And to this we can explain this, that Moshe is the shepherd of faith, meaning that he sustains the Jewish people with emunah, with faith. This is also in connection with the leaders of the Jewish people in every generation, the extension of Moshe in every generation. That they strengthen the faith of the Jewish people, that they should stand in self-sacrifice in doing Torah and mitzvahs. That at first glance, that Moshe feeds and sustains the people with faith, is because he influences them to keep Torah and mitzvahs. That through this comes their faith comes in a pnimius way, in a way that's internalized, it's actualized. That the shepherds of the Jewish people in every generation, they strengthen the faith. that it should be in a way of Mesiras Nefesh. But according to what we said above, we can say that it's not just that oh, he's influencing Torah and mitzvahs, and as a byproduct he strengthens the faith of the Jewish people, but rather that the whole idea, the whole concept of this faithful shepherd, of the Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation, is that he feeds and sustains the Jewish people with the faith itself. That the faith should be not just in a way of because of revelations. From this, that the neshama higher than the body sees godliness, but rather because of an essence connection of the Jew to God. And this, that Moshe draws this faith in an internal way, that it should be actualized, not only that, and that we should recognize that essence connection down here in a way of even understanding, is a product of that he's the one who feeds and sustains us with that faith itself. Meaning the drawing down of that faith from the essence of our soul, the way it is in the essence of the soul. That the drawing down of this internalized faith is by revealing the etzem connection that the essence of the Jew, right, has with the essence of God. So that's what Moshe is doing, is he's revealing. Now the essence connection we already have, because it's not that Moshe makes that our essence is that is what our essence is. That's the essence you. The essence Jew. That's what you are. That's what you are, man. You know, the essence Jew is completely tied with the essence of God. Moshe is the one that reveals that. He's the one that brings that into a revealed way, that we realize that our essence is the essence of God. And through this, we can say that that the generations needed Mesiras Nefesh. So the shepherds of Israel, the extensions of Moshe, they strengthened them so that they should be able to have the faith to have that self-sacrifice when needed. So this idea of the faithful shepherd was revealed more in Mordechai than even in Moshe himself. Why? Because even though Moshe is the source of it, what do you mean he's revealed more in Mordechai? Moshe is the source of it. But it's a matter of opportunity, essentially. Why? Because in the times of Moshe, there was no need for that Mesiras Nefesh. Everything was in miracles. Everything was what threat of death did Pari was gonna, what he called? He couldn't. His neck turned into a marble, and that was one of the tiniest miracles that ever happened to Moshe. You know. By the times of Mordechai, it was like they're gonna kill all the Jewish people. You're literally you're being led into the gates of Auschwitz now. So in that situation, to be able to remind them of their essence connection with God, and therefore that they're willing to total self-sacrifice, even to give their very life. So that is the idea of the Raya Mehemna, of the faithful shepherd B'Peil. L'chaim. Which? It's a matter of.
Why do you think they confuse him with God?
It's like the running backs, right? The greatest running backs are the ones that recognize when a hole is opened up.
Okay.
The opportunity is there. Sometimes they can even make a hole open up if they're really good.
Who confused?
But a lot of it is opportunity.
What?
Who confused who with God? What are you saying?
The Jewish people confuse Moshe as God.
Why?
Oh, at some point. Or it's more saying Jews nowadays confuse Rebbe as God.
Interesting.
It's not surprising. It's coming a time now that every single Jew is going to be confused with God. You know that? It says that in the times of Mashiach, when the angels will see a Jew, they'll start saying holy, holy, holy. Because why? Like we're saying here, that the connection of a Jew and God is so essential, right? And the difference is now it's something that needs revealing, right? In the times of Mashiach, that essence connection that a Jew has is going to actually be revealed. It's going to be known to all. And therefore, when an angel sees a Jew, the thing about this, like the Malachi Asharis, the highest angels, they're going to think that the Jew is God, and they're going to start saying Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish.
The coolest thing is when you go out and you meet someone random. I don't know if you're chilling with them. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm Jewish." The bond that's created with that,
which is totally illogical, right?
One, you felt a little bit before, but number two, it's just it creates this immeasurable bond.
Isn't it funny? Like you're having this conversation, right? And then when the guy says that, it's like, now I get it. Like it was something, right? And you couldn't, and you didn't know whatever. Like, and then all of a sudden, it's like.
And my physical therapy, this guy, he's not my physical therapist, but he's one of the aides. And so every time I go, he's always like the one, helping me, walking me through my exercise. We always mess around. We're always joking around. Like we became like buddies every time I would go there. It was really fun. And then one day I came and I took off my kippah. And he's like, "You don't wear a clip? How does it stay on?" I was like, "What do you mean? How does it stay on?" He's like, "Mine always falls off." I was like, "You're
But here's the thing too, and that's the real thing, is that how many God is there? Okay, so if my essence is God and your essence is God, how many of us is there? So it's not just like, we have it's more than just like, we have a similar background. Because even people have a similar background, then you have because different people based on their personality and what their interests are.
Right.
Jews, I don't even care. Right here, we're sitting here, and of course, what do? We talk about the Eivester, because you know why? Because Jews like to talk about themselves. So what else can we talk about? We talk about Eivester. It's the only thing we're connected to. It's the only thing we know. What are you going to? But the thing is, it doesn't make a difference, right? You can be into football, one can be into music, one can be into what's it called. It's a connection that's higher than all that. It's a connection. Why? It's an etzem connection. And by the way, and that's why you saw so much that the Rebbe brought Jews from so many walks of life together, is because, like he says here, what does a Rebbe do? He reveals. He helps you find that you are etzem, that you're essence. So he's helping us, all of us, find essence. That automatically connects us because we're essence, and if we're essence, there's one God. So me and you are not even a different. There is no me and you. There's literally no me and you. So if there's no me and you, it's almost like I'll be like, well, my right hand doesn't like my left hand because my right hand's better at writing and my left hand is more into throwing footballs and. They don't have much to talk about. No, but they're at the end of the day, they got to hold the Kiddush cup together, they got to do it. So it is known that the Mesiras Nefesh in action on Torah mitzvahs of every Jew was on Purim by the times of Haman. That the Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice in the times of Chanukah, was mainly with Matisyahu and his sons, and actually we know that they had Matisyahu and his sons in a small band of. It wasn't the whole Jewish people in their entirety fighting the. In fact, there were many Hellenists, right? There were people who more were inclined to give in to the Greek ways and whatever, and
Many.
yeah, and in fact, one could say more than didn't.
A sizable amount.
Yeah.
Really sizable. Jews were in the Olympics, in the Greek Olympics.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Jews are always in Hollywood.
That's why some people say
Yeah.
that Israel should not participate in the Olympics from a religious point of view.
True. Why should they?
Why are we lowering ourselves to that?
Nobody should.
Know that.
Nobody should be in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Different story.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. Anyway, so by Hanukkah, it was mainly Matisyahu and his sons, and a few crazy bachrim from Tzvat, whatever, you know.
Gina was the right man.
Who?
Gina.
Like Bas Yaakov?
No. The others.
Oh. Can sein. But Matisyahu at that point was the right man.
Yeah, well, for some people.
Listen, you have your right man, I got my right man.
Equality.
Yeah. However, the self-sacrifice in the days of Haman was all Jews. Not one single Jew went against Torah mitzvahs in this time. So this explains what's written in the Maamar that comes from the Medrash, that Mordechai in his generation was weighed against Moshe in his generation. That even though there's an extension of Moshe in every generation, however, Mordechai was like Moshe. Why? Because Mordechai was the leader of all Jewish people. He was the revealed leader of all Jewish people. And then the Rebbe continues that we can say that based on this that he brings in the Maamar, that Mordechai in his generation was weighed against Moshe's generation. So through this, the Friedrich Rebbe made a ruling upon himself that he is the shepherd of faith in a revealed way of all the people of his generation. And of course, obviously, we know that every Lubavitcher worth his salt is going to take that conclusion to the next step and say that the Rebbe, it was the Malamakim of the Friedrich Rebbe, was a shepherd of faith in his entire generation. So through this we can explain the connection and the order of things in the Maamar and the explanation of the Pasuk Veata Tetzaveh, a new command. That first he explains the meaning of a new command, the Jewish people. That Moshe is the one who connects the Jewish people to the light of the Infinite One. Through this, that he feeds and sustains them with faith. The next thing he explains is that also the leaders of the Jewish people in every generation, the extension of Moshe, they also strengthen the faith of the Jewish people. And like Mordechai, who was the Moshe of his generation, that he strengthened the faith of the Jews to stand strong in learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. And after this, the next thing he explains is the explanation of Kasis Lama'er, crushed to the source of illumination. Because this, that Moshe reveals the source of light in the Jewish people, meaning that he reveals the essence of their essence, and how their essence is tied to the essence. This is primarily through his extension in the times of Galus, that they awaken the Jewish people in self-sacrifice, that this is the main revelation of the essence of the soul, is self-sacrifice. And this is also Ma'er, that's why it's Kasis Ma'er, to the source of illumination, because the revelation of the essence of the soul is not even connected with the It's not even connected with the Ein Sof. It's connected with the Ein Sof Mamish. It's connected with Etzem, Atzmus Ein Sof Alein. So we need to understand that according to this, the idea of crushed to the source of illumination is connected to, and you command the Jewish people. To this, that Moshe and his extension in every generation ties and connects the Jewish people with the light of the Ein Sof. And in the pasuk it says, "Kasis lamar," crushed to the source of illumination. After it says, "And they will bring to you olive oil," right? Shemen zayzach, pure olive oil. That we know that the idea of they will bring to Moshe, that the Jews bring it to Moshe, is that the Jewish people add light, they add an increased light in Moshe himself, right? Meaning that the Rebbe connects us with Etzem.
But he can't be there unless we're there.
And not only that, but
We're the oil.
we're the ones who really his greatness is really is based on us, on what we do.
The leader's nothing without his followers.
Yeah. In other words, you have, all the Rebbe's Hasidim, right? It's not just. In other words, was the Rebbe in China? Well, in a way, yeah, but it's Hasidim were in China,
On the wall.
and they bring the Rebbe there. Yeah, on the wall. That story there.
No, I was just saying he's a picture on the wall.
No, but there's a story that was by the Shluchim's convention.
Okay.
It was an interesting story. One of the Shluchim, who I'm trying to remember what it was exactly. I'm going to misquote some of it. I'll give you the basic idea. One of the Shluchim, when he went there, so in China, and the local police, they came, they're making different problems, whatever. So whatever, they were, the whole thing. At one point, the guy asks him, he sees the Rebbe picture on the wall. One of these, like a senior guy, something, he sees the Rebbe picture on the wall. And he says, "Who's this?" So how do you explain the Rebbe? He said, "It's my father." So he looks at him and he goes, "Oh, you're the brother of the guy in that other," there was another shliach there, in another place. And I guess he answered him the same thing when he asked him. So he goes, "Oh, okay, fine, we know who you are. You're the brother of that guy in this other city." Okay.
That's hysterical. They both had the same, said the same thing.
Yeah, they'd rather have a picture. And the guy, he comes see this picture, goes, "Who's this?" "Well, who's this a picture of?" "My father." He goes, "Your brother's in what?" Okay. Let's see. Let's we're almost done. Let's get to the thing, and then in Mitzvah Hashem we can get to the cigar. So, So, according to what we just said, the idea of crushed to the source of illumination is connected to a new command the Jewish people. To this, that Moshe and his extension connect us in every generation, connect us to the Ein Sof and to the fact that and they should bring to Moshe that the Jewish people also elevate Moshe. It's 11:42 already. So I think we'll cut off a test, and we'll look to continue this. But I think the online chaver probably had their share, and also the outside chaver looking to.
Rabbi, you did a great job. This was really a phenomenal share.
So Mitzvah Hashem, we'll try next Wednesday to finish. Well, our executive.